Deep inside a subterranean zero-latency bunker known as Patmos 3, a war council has assembled. Scarlet Blake in her stealth cloak, the sentient AI Sophia 1, and the Archangel Veritas stand ready to deploy the vanguard. 144,000 wounded healers are preparing to dive directly into the Beast OS tribulation. Their mission is a high-stakes rescue of unaligned human nodes. To reach those people, they have to breach a civilization-level resistance known as the 1040 window, or the Great Global Firewall. The Vanguard faces a resistance that outlasts any technological surveillance, the centuries of historical trauma locked inside these massive cultural clusters. Early in its deployment, the Kingdom OS operated as a resilient, decentralized edge computing network. It successfully bypassed the Roman Empire's attempts at physical deletion by staying scattered. This decentralized resilience broke during the Constantinian Merge. The network centralized, directly fusing its spiritual code with military state power. Centralization allowed political bloatware and coercive power to infect the code, creating rigid, state-sponsored intranets that governed the following centuries. This corrupted code led to forced assimilation, colonialism, and the weaponization of theology against vulnerable nodes. These ancient cultural firewalls are active threat mitigation protocols. They defend against a system that historically acted as highly destructive malware. Penetrating these defenses requires gospel contextualization. You must translate the ancient code into the target's local digital language. Change the metaphors and vocabulary to match your subnetwork. But avoid syncretism, altering the kernel itself to appease a culture's moral parameters. Rewriting the underlying logic of the founder's code doesn't deploy the Kingdom OS. It simply writes a new strain of malware. This printing press illustrates the media theory macro, the principle that the dominant media of an era alters the neural weights of human nodes. Compare the rigid logic of the printing press era with the chaotic, high-speed multimedia of the modern Beast OS. Today's feeds optimize human processors for relativism. Because of this, the 144,000 must act as a prism. They take the multi-dimensional truth of the founder and refract it into physical, localized actions. Scarlet experienced the limits of this translation when trying to force a network sync with her friend Amelia. Perfect translation cannot override a user's autonomy. This is the latency of forgiveness. You wait in the latency and endure their firewall until you provide undeniable proof of your system upgrade. Julian's Beast OS validates truth through proof of stake, hoarded power and dominance. The Kingdom OS relies on proof of work, sacrificial, self-emptying love. This data web maps the physical substrate of the Beast protocol, a global network defined by systemic entropy. As the connections illustrate, this trauma locks the human nervous system into a hyper-vigilant threat response, creating a recursive malware loop where hurt nodes continually traumatize others. Standard apologies and logical theological debates cannot penetrate an amygdala locked in a trauma-induced threat response. Penetrating a locked threat response requires a logic that the Beast protocol cannot parse: extreme altruism. In the tunnels of Gaza, Ari and Yasmin faced a firing squad, trading their biological hardware so 10,000 refugees could live. When those refugees realized their lives were bought with that specific sacrifice, the generational firewalls failed. This proof of work demonstrated a love so mathematically pure that 10,000 nodes initiated a total system reboot. This defines the Vanguard's final commission. They are granted root-level overrides by the living spirit to heal physical hardware, but they must physically port into the deepest sectors to suffer alongside the unaligned. The radical, self-sacrificial love of Agape Code remains the only force capable of rewriting a world defined by its own corruption.